Okay, ladies and germs, she's starting to come together or come apart, depending on which way you watch these, or your belief in modern physics. Anyway, skipping over all the electrical details, how to make wires melt your noggin. I got 4 of these lights in. I'll explain in a moment how they install. You can kind of see the cheater bars up there. So what I did, just as a temporary measure with the power turned off, I hooked this last one in this string to the existing fluorescent fixtures, which only turn on days that end in Z. So I got the wrong switch. I wish it was the other switch, but it doesn't matter in the end. You'll see what I'm doing here, and it'll be a lot more wiring than just one switch anyway. So proof of concept. We're going to extend this kind of checkerboard pattern, and then in the alternating spaces, if you can imagine, if these were the white squares, nothing to do with being light, I'm just talking about checkerboards, then the other squares, black squares, red squares, whatever kind of checkers you play, racist, they'll go into the gaps in between, and so you'll be able to have half brightness on one switch and full brightness when you flip both switches. Instead of installing a dimmer, a whole bunch more wiring and low voltage nonsense and complexity. So let me pull the ladder over. I'll get to this one on the end. You'll see how it's wired in. They're all about the same. You know, all this excursioning on the ladder, and then the one-handed picking the ladder up will be what kills me, and not the climbing up and down. All right, or the electricity. So, light fixture, ceiling grid. Okay, so these metal tracks are they're sort of tied in, kind of, sort of. In some places, like on the ends, they're loosey-goosey, and I think somebody half-assed it when I much prefer the full ass. So we got these little bendy tabs. They're really, you bend them up and you turn them out at a right angle, just so that when you put the fixture in, you get one lip over, the other lip over, that they hook on the track if you let go. They don't do anything to support it when it's actually sitting in the grid. It's the lip of the light. Progress. Yeah, so there's a lip here that goes behind this track, color notwithstanding, 1970s meets 2001 Space Oddity. So, on every one of these, now this one is pulled out just for show, the other ones are all tidied up. So this was the existing light or wiring to the switch to the fluorescents. I only took one fluorescent out of the loop, the other ones just don't work. Well, none of them did. So, you know, white to white, black to black, copper to green. This is not a ballast, but it's a power supply with a dimmer control. Has more wires in there that I could have pulled out and didn't use, and it just has a connector that plugs in to supply a variable voltage to the LEDs. So there's really not much to it. Now what I did here was, using the wire ties for the drop ceiling, I just kind of routed the wire straight instead of going diagonal and saving wire. Like I had the thought originally. The straight means that if I pull any of the intermediate panels, I'll have access into the attic for wiring or whatever. I may actually get me a permanent flip down ladder or something in one of these slots, depending on how much work that seems like and price. So, bada boom, we go over there to that one, we go over there to the next one, and it jumps side to side. The reason being, there's 3 empty bays between these, and in the middle one, I'm going to put another fixture on the other circuit. So that kind of makes sense. There'll be light, square, empty square, light, empty square, light, but every other light will be on an alternating circuit. So, also every light will be on an alternating circuit, but every other light will be on a different switch. So, there you have it. All the way down at the end, you can see the orange wire ties flying in the air there, because there's no additional light to connect them to. You know, could be I wire another one into that one and continue the string, or I do some more parallel trees of strings of light. It just depends on what's convenient and sticks to my pattern. And then in the end, I'll tuck those down one way or the other. I just left them out in case I was going to use them. because then when you finish, you route these through either multiple knockouts or through the same knockout, and then you have all your wire ties tucked in here, and there's a cover with the screw to seal this up. So schmafety first, and then you throw all the insulation back on top. Still haven't decided if I'm going to reuse this nasty shit, buy some new stuff and increase my efficiency 0.5%. On the other hand, I don't want to touch that stuff again, but I still have to throw it away. So with the new stuff, good, not destroyed craft paper, I would be able to staple it up here instead of heaping it on top of the tiles that bulged out because of the weight and the moisture. Oh Lord, you think your attic is hot, 120 degrees or whatever. Well, the whole garage is like that when you don't have insulation up here. So I got to do this in spurts with a beer and a protein shake and a coffee in between, and 2 bathroom stops, bracket in either end. All right, folks, I got to get back to it.